everybody, from the University of Vermont Centennial Field. I'm George Como, and this is high school baseball championship action for 1993. Tonight is the Vermont Division I high school championship game as the Cougars of Mount Mansfield Union High School, the number 2 seeded team in the tournament with a record of 16 wins and 2 losses, take on the Hilltoppers of St. Johnsbury Academy. St. J, the number 4 seed in tournament play, with an overall record of 13-5. It has turned into a surprisingly nice evening for baseball here at Centennial Field. The very wet weather conditions, which we've seen through most of the day, have abated for the moment. We've got a little sunshine right now at the ballpark. You heard the word just a few moments ago from Mike Provost that there is still a forecast of a few showers or thunder showers, but for the moment, things looking pretty good here at the ballpark, and a good crowd coming in as the Cougars try to win a state championship. They were here 2 years ago in the championship game, losing to Mount Anthony of Bennington in the championship game. For St. Johnsbury Academy, tonight is a first. This is a first ever appearance for them in a state Division I baseball championship game. Should be a lot of fun. We'll come back, take a look at the lineups as we continue with our pregame activities from Centennial Field, as the coaches and the captains of the 2 ball clubs are meeting back behind home plate. The ground crew in the process of taking care of the infield, getting things squared away for this evening's ball game. It is, as we said, a kind of a hazy, warm evening at the ballpark right now. We are Chris Savage, the starter for Mount Mansfield, and Justin Whitehead will be the starting pitcher for St. Johnsbury. For tonight's ball game, for the Cougars of Mount Mansfield Union High School, who, despite the fact they are reasonably close to Burlington as opposed to St. Johnsbury all the way across the state, it's seeding that determines the home team, and the Cougars are the visitors tonight. Let's check their lineup. Leading off will be their pitcher, number 21, Chris Savage. Batting second, the left fielder, number 20, Darren Latisseur. Batting third will be the catcher, number 44, Keith Carter. Batting cleanup, the right fielder, number 24, Adam Sargent. Batting fifth, the first baseman, number 16, Rick Nichols. Batting sixth, the shortstop, number 23, Ted Alexander. Batting seventh, the third baseman, number 26, Doug Brasso. Batting eighth, the designated hitter, number 7, Corey Heverin. And batting ninth will be the center fielder, number 22, Matt LeGros. For the St. Johnsbury Academy Hilltoppers, a record of 13-5 on the season. The pitcher, Justin Whitehead, leads off. Josh Burnham in center field will bat second. Matt Bennett, the shortstop, bats third. Dante Levin, the first baseman, bats cleanup. Tracy Ingalls, the catcher, will bat number 5. Tim Santaw, the third baseman, bats sixth. Lenny Kozowski, the left fielder, will bat 7th. Chris Rolfe, the second baseman, will bat 8th. And Aaron Fontaine, the designated hitter, will be the number 9 hitter. The St. Johnsbury Academy Hilltoppers with a season's record of 13 wins and 5 losses. We'll come back, and Essex Junction baseball coach Steve Ferreira will join us for some pregame comments when we continue in 60 seconds. Back at the Centennial Field Diamond under amazingly sunshiny skies as the St. Johnsbury Academy starting lineup is being introduced. And we'll be getting this thing underway very shortly for the Division I state championship. A guy who had hoped to be here in a somewhat different role, but is sitting alongside with us for a while on the broadcast tonight, Steve Ferreira, the head baseball coach at Essex Junction. And Steve, one of the more amazing baseball games I've seen in a long time. Your matchup with Mount Mansfield in the semifinals. They beat you guys 12-11, but tremendous ball game, lots of intensity, and it's going to be frustrating, but at the same time, that's a very good ball club that's out here to play St. J tonight.
Well, they were, and I got to tell you, George, I think these are probably the 2 best teams in the Metro League and deserve to be here. We were beat twice by Mount Mansfield and once by St. Johnsbury, and they represent the league very well.
Talk about these 2 teams, and then we'll get to the pitching matchup in a moment, Whitehead against Savage. But overall, what kind of baseball do these teams like to play?
Well, Mount Mansfield has 2 very good hitters. Keith Carter and Adam Sargent are the power hitters. But what makes Mount Mansfield, George, is the fact that their entire lineup are base hitters. They're free swingers. They're not going to hit the ball out of here, but they're going to get a lot of base hits.
Now Winooski's Todd Callahan for the national anthem. The defensive alignment for the Hilltoppers of St. Johnsbury Academy tonight. The right fielder is number 2. That is Peter Brown. Brown, the right fielder. The center fielder, number 19, is Josh Burnham. Burnham in center. And around in left is number 21. That is Lenny Kozowski. Kozowski in left. The inner defense, the third baseman, number 13, is Tim Santoff. The shortstop, number 17, is Matt Bennett. The second baseman, number 4, is Chris Rolfe. And the first baseman, number 3, is Dante Levin. Behind the plate, the catcher is Tracy Ingalls. And on the mound, the left-hander to get the start in the ball game this evening, Justin Whitehead, the starting pitcher for St. Johnsbury. Steve, what about him?
Well, he shut us out midway during the year. He's got a good fastball, good curveball, but his big thing is his competitive stature. He just comes at you, and he just tries to get you to hit the ball someplace. He doesn't give in, and he doesn't throw balls either.
It will be Chris Savage to lead it off. Let's check the Mount Mansfield batting order again. Savage, the pitcher. Darren Lattiser in left. Keith Carter catching. Adam Sargent in right field. Rick Nichols at first base, Ted Alexander at shortstop, Doug Brasso at third base, Corey Hebron, the designated hitter, and Matt LeGros in center field. Savage, the pitcher, to lead it off. And when was the last time you ever saw a baseball game where both leadoff hitters are the pitchers? That's the way it'll be tonight. Savage leading off for Mount Mansfield and Whitehead leading off for St. Johnsbury. The Cougars of Mount Mansfield were in the championship game 2 years ago, losing to Mount Anthony, but not many, if any, of those players are still around. Different crew. These guys were JVs at that time. And for St. Johnsbury, this is their first ever appearance in a Division I championship game. Chris Savage to lead it off, a .258 batting average, 16 hits in 62 at-bats, 14 runs batted in. Had 7 doubles and an on-base average of .408. Thanks for joining us, everybody. First pitch of the game from Whitehead is inside and low. Ball 1, and we are underway. Savage, Lattiser, and Carter in the first inning for the Cougars of Coach Bob Slayton, who works in the coaching box at third. Third baseman Santoff at the edge of the grass. The pitch on the fastball outside corner for a strike. It is 1-1. Good crowd on hand, and they continue to come into the ballpark. In fact, cars are lined up all the way to the top of the driveway here at Centennial Field. So a good crowd coming a little late, maybe scared off by the weather a little bit earlier. Pitch missed, a little high inside. 2 balls and a strike now on Savage. But the weather broke for this game amazingly because it rained all through the first game here this afternoon. 2 balls and 1 strike. Pitch on the way, and it's hit on the ground, back up through the middle. The shortstop Bennett has it near the bag and throws Savage out, 1 away. 6-3 put out. 1 away in the first inning for the Cougars, and the left fielder Darren Lattiser coming to the plate. Lattiser hitting at .468 on the season, 29 hits in 62 at-bats. 10 RBIs, 26 runs scored, which leads the team. 4 doubles, a triple, 1 home run, and an on-base average of .577 coming in. Pitch low and away, 1 ball and no strikes. Left-handed batter against the left-handed pitches of Whitehead here. Slight breeze, not real big factor. It's blowing out towards center field here at Centennial. 1-0 pitch. Taken for a strike called outside corner at the knees. And the count, a ball and a strike. Now Whitehead checks in, comes with a 1-1 pitch, and it's chopped on the ground again to the shortstop. Bennett gets a letter high hop and throws him out at first base. 2 away. 2 ground balls to short, 2 up, 2 down for the Cougars in the first inning. And here is Keith Carter, the catcher. Young man has had a highly successful career at Mount Mansfield Union High School. At the plate, a .500 hitter on the season, 27 of 54, 8 doubles, a triple, 5 home runs, 19 runs batted in, 17 runs scored, and an on-base percentage of .618. That's a decent season.
That's a great career.
Takes the first pitch a little low, 1 ball and no strikes. He kind of got them going in their comeback against you guys the other day with a home run.
You know, we were ahead 6-1, and he just popped one out of there in about 2.2 seconds. And next thing I know, we're behind 7-6.
1-0 pitch. And it's in at the knees for a strike. 1-1. Of course, for any of the non-initiated out there, the son of Winooski coach Jim Carter, and something I didn't know until the other day, the godson of one Steve Ferrara.
I'll take claim to him.
1 ball, 1 strike pitch. Breaking ball, missed outside. And the count goes to 2 balls and a strike. Cleanup man Adam Sargent waiting on deck. Nice to see a big crowd in this place. Pitch swung on, driven high in the air and deep to left center field, but it's playable, I think. Center fielder back, but it's over his head. It was playable. He didn't get to it. Carter around second, the big turn, and he'll dive back in with a 2-out double to the gap in left center field. I thought Josh Burnham was going to catch up with that ball, Steve. Kept drifting underneath it, and finally it just got over his head.
Well, you know, you talked about the wind blowing out. It's not a factor. However, I think that put another 10 feet on that ball, and I tell you, that dropped to the base of the fence. That was about 370 feet out of here. And it didn't miss by too much, George, of getting out of it.
So Carter at second with 2 out, and Sargent with the job of picking him up. Adam Sargent playing right field tonight. .344 hitter on the year, 22 of 64. Takes the strike, nothing in 1. 5 doubles, 3 home runs, 19 runs batted in. Second on the team with 18 runs scored. And an on-base percentage well over the .500 mark as well. Carter the lead at second. Here's the pitch, and it's in on the ground, back up the middle. Again, the shortstop, Bennett, has it. He throws low, scooped out at first by Levin, and that will retire the side. So they waste the double, 1 man left on base. And after a half inning of play, it's the Cougars nothing, and St. Johnsbury coming to bat. Field, and let's check the defensive alignment for the Cougars of Mount Mansfield Union High School. In right field, number 24, Adam Sargent. The center fielder, number 22, Matt LeGros. And way around in left field, number 20 is Darren Ladisseur. He's the left fielder. Now the inner defense for the Cougars. The third baseman is number 26, Doug Brasso. The shortstop, number 23, Ted Alexander. Second baseman is Trevor Marshall. And the first baseman is Rick Nichols. Behind the plate, Keith Carter. And on the mound, the right-hander, Chris Savage, to get the start tonight for Coach Bob Slayton. Steve, what about Savage?
Well, Chris is 10-0, and those are real good numbers. These two guys, Savage and Whitehead, have one thing in common. That is, they do not give in. They're real competitive, what I call dump dogs. And they just keep throwing and throwing and don't throw balls. They just come at you.
Savage's numbers on the year, 9-0, actually, with an earned run average of 2.38. Although maybe that doesn't include the game the other day.
I don't think it does. Thank you very much.
We didn't want to include that one. Okay. 67 2/3 innings. He's allowed 62 hits, 34 runs, 23 of them earned. He's walked 25, struck out 66 in 67 2/3 innings. And the ERA 2.38. He will face Justin Whitehead, Josh Burnham, and Matt Bennett for the Hilltoppers here in the first inning. St. Johnsbury 11-5 in the regular season. earned the number 4 seed in the tournament, and then in the tournament beat Springfield and beat Rutland to move on to the championship game for the first time ever. There's ball 1 to Justin Whitehead. Interesting, left-handed pitcher, but he bats from the right side of the plate. Takes the pitch on the outside corner at the knees for a strike called. It's 1-1. Of course, the great unknown factor, the thing people will wonder about in this tournament this year for a long time, is Brattleboro. We'll talk about that in a minute. Pitch hit on the ground to the right side. The second baseman, Marshall, picks it up and throws to first for the out, 1 away. Whitehead out 4-3, and that'll bring up Josh Burnham, the center fielder. Brattleboro top seeded in the tournament, Steve, 16-0, and they run into Rutland, a team they beat twice during the regular season, and Rutland beat them in the quarterfinals 4-3.
You know, Judge, I've been coaching here at Essex for 26 years. I've never seen an undefeated team. The game does not allow it.
Yeah, in baseball, it's as rare as anything you could possibly think of. Burnham, a left-handed batter against Savage here with 1 out and nobody on in the bottom half of inning number 1. It is amazing. The crowd just continuing to pour in here. Pitch in for a strike. It is 0-1. Of course, we want to see this on Sunday also when minor league baseball makes its return to Burlington. Pitch swung on, chopped foul to the right. And it's a 2-strike count now on Josh Burnham. Utica Blue Sox and the Glens Falls Cardinals here at Centennial Field on Sunday afternoon. We'll broadcast the game at 2:50. It's a 3 o'clock game. We hope you'll join us for that.
You know, Judge, you talk about Brattleboro, but and I say that in my 26 years, I've never seen an undefeated team in Vermont Division I high school. I can only remember 2 number 1 teams winning the tournament.
Yeah, that's very believable. Pitch pop foul off to the left. Look out in the bleachers. Made the roof off to the right of them. No balls and 2 strikes on Burnham. Well, it's always competitive. And it really, you know, people talk about baseball up here and how hard it is to play the game with the weather conditions, the other things you have to come up against. But we've had a lot of good ball players come through here the last few years. Breaking ball, chopped foul to the right, count holds, no balls and 2 strikes. I mean, you've had a bunch of them over there, and a lot of guys have around the area.
Well, there's been some great talent for a small state with small communities. There's been some real good ball players, and I think one of the measures of that is a twin state against New Hampshire.
0-2 pitch swung on it high in the air to right field. Sargent coming in under this, and he's got it 2 away. Burnham flies to the right fielder.
I think right now baseball is the only sport, with the exception of lacrosse, that just got its start this past week, where Vermont is even up with New Hampshire over the last 10 years.
Yep. And that's interesting because this year the Twin State Tournament is going to be here at Centennial Field coming up in a couple of weeks. Breaking ball to the shortstop, Matt Bennett, misses ball 1 ball and no strikes. That's going to be what, the 2nd and 3rd of July here?
The 2nd and 3rd.
1-0 pitch, swing and a miss. 1-1 now on the St. Johnsbury shortstop. Well, I'm thrilled to death to see a lot of baseball at this ballpark because pitch outside 2-1. It's been kind of a shame over the last few years since we lost minor league baseball here in Burlington that this facility has sat unused for so much of the summertime. 2-1 pitch, swung on and missed, fastball, and the count is 2-2 now on Bennett. Now you got the Twin State game, you got the minor league game, you got the A's and the Expos playing here in the summertime, and it's all good to see baseball all summer long in a facility like this.
It's a great place to play baseball.
2-ball, 2-strike pitch, and it's popped foul off to the left side out of play. And the count on Bennett holds 2-2.
You know, as we talk about Twin State, a little inside information, Matt Bennett made the Twin State team along with Keith Carter, and I believe Chris Savage is also on the team with potentially Sargent too.
Bennett back in. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Savage pitches, and strike 3 called, painted the outside corner, and Bennett down on strikes. First strikeout for Savage, side out in order for St. Johnsbury. And after 1 inning of play at Centennial Field, it is the Cougars nothing and the Academy nothing. It's the top half of inning number 2 at Centennial Field, a 0-0 game. And the Mount Mansfield Cougars come up with Rick Nichols, Ted Alexander, and Doug Brasso against the left-hander Justin Whitehead. Nichols, number 5 hitter in the order, .328 batting average, 19 hits in 58 at-bats. He's had a double, 7 runs batted in, and the 11 stolen bases. Whitehead kicks and throws, and it's a little low inside. Ball 1-0. Steve, we were talking off the air, and you were talking about the contrast in the coaches in this game. We'll get to that in a second. Here's the 1-0. Pitch on the outside corner for a strike. It's 1-1. You got a young coach in Pete Wright at St. Johnsbury and the veteran in Bob Slayton from Mount Mansfield.
Well, Peter graduated from St. Johnsbury as an athlete in the mid-'80s.
Pitch swung on a short hop to third, fielded there by Santoff. Throw low, scooped out by Levin. One away. Crap hop there by Santoff. Picked it off the grass, threw it a little low, but Levin retires it for the out. One gone.
Getting back to Peter, he came back to the academy in the late 80s, around 89, 90. Coached a couple of years of JVs, and this is his second year at the helm. I got a little story when we get a break here about Peter Wright.
Shortstop Ted Alexander to bat for Mount Mansfield. And the pitch is up high from Whitehead. 1 ball and no strikes.
On the other side of the coin, Bob Slayton's been in Mount Mansfield for about 16, 17 years and coached at Stowe High School for about 6 or 7 years before that.
Pitch to Alexander in for the strike. It's 1-1. Ted Alexander hitting .189, 10 for 53, a double, a triple, and 9 runs batted in. Pitch missed down and in. 2 balls and a strike on Alexander. Whitehead not wasting any time, right back, and it's in for the strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes now. Doug Brasso, the third baseman, to bat next. Lights on now here at the ballpark. Just starting to take effect in a couple of the dark holes. Pitch chopped at the plate and off the foot of Alexander. That's a foul ball. He hops around a little bit, walks it off. Count holds, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Anyone who's ever done that to themselves, and I have, believe me, yeah, you walk it off for more than a second or two. But he's back in the box. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Whitehead pitching and strikes him out swinging. Pitch in on the fist. Alexander down on strikes. That is strikeout number 1 for Justin Whitehead. 1 away make that 2 away for the Cougars here in the second. And Doug Brasso, the third baseman, coming up. Brasso, .231 hitter, 6 for 26, a double, 6 runs batted in. Left-handed bat. Takes low and away, 1 ball and no strikes.
You know, Judge, the book on both these teams is they start slow offensively, but then they put up some horrendous numbers in the mid-late innings.
1-0 pitch. Outside and low, 2-0. You found that out the other day. 2 balls and no strikes. Count on Brasso. Pitch back. In for the strike. Inside corner at the belt. 2 balls and 1 strike now on the Cougar third baseman. Now Whitehead kicks and throws low and away, and the count goes to 3-1. Kid you a little bit about that tough ball game the other day, but you had a great bunch of seniors on that ball club. You're going to have kids you're going to miss next year.
We're losing everything but a couple of kids.
3-1 pitch. Low inside, ball 4, and the second base runner of the evening for Mount Mansfield as Brasso draws the 2-out walk. First base on balls allowed by Whitehead. And with a runner at first and 2 out, the designated hitter Corey Hebron coming to the plate.
Here's a kid who played JV ball this year and was called up at the end of the season by Bob Slayton. He's only a sophomore.
Saw him play the last game of the regular season. They played at Winooski, and he had a couple of hits in that ball game. Hitting .667 in limited duty, 4 hits in 6 at-bats, an RBI, 3 runs scored, couple of stolen bases. Pitch to him is on the outside corner for a strike call, 0-1.
With a man on first now, Justin Whitehead's move comes into play. He's got one of the better left-handed moves in the league.
Hebron, just a sophomore, sort of first, chasing Brasso back to the bag. No balls and a strike on Hebron. Pitch low and picked out of the dirt by the catcher Ingalls. 1 ball and 1 strike now. The set. Pitch by Whitehead. Ball hit on the ground toward the hole. The second baseman bobbles. Nobody covering the bag. Now the throw. He's safe at first base. The first baseman, Levin, came off the bag. The second baseman, Rolfe, fielded the ball. The pitcher, Whitehead, was a little slow to get over there, and it all results in an infield base hit for Corey Hebron.
There's a case where the first baseman started going for it, and at the last minute turned around. He started covering first base. The pitch is coming. You get 2 guys on the bag. Makes it awful tough for that second baseman to pick somebody out.
Brasso moves up to second. 2 on and 2 out for the Cougars, and the number 9 man in the order, Matt LeGros, the center fielder at the plate. LeGros, a 167 hitter, takes low inside, ball 1. 7 hits in 42 at-bats. A double, 3 runs batted in, 10 runs scored. Opportunity here to help the cause for the Cougars. Takes the strike. Outside half at the knees. 1-1 now on LeGros. Top of the batting order, Chris Savage waiting on deck. 2 on, 2 out, top half of the second inning. 1-1 pitch. Outside ball 2 now. 2-1. The count on LeGros. Outfield very shallow in center field. Josh Burnham into left center and shallow. This one's hitting the air down the right side. I don't think anybody's going to get to it. It lands in foul territory. First baseman Levin not to pick it up. And the count even, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
One of the things we were talking about, George, was the fact that the bottom of the order for Mount Mansfield is very potent. You know, in our game a couple days ago, we were ahead 11-9, bottom of the 7th, with number 7, 8, 9 due up. And before I could even blink, all 3 of them were on base, and we were in trouble.
There you are at the top of the batting order, staring in the face. Savage got the big hit and trouble. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 2 runners take their leads. Pitch by Whitehead coming, and it's hit foul. Fisted off to the dugout on the first base side. And in second, 2-2 pitch to LeGros, missed inside, picked out by Ingalls, and the count goes full now. 3 balls and 2 strikes. As we said, Savage waiting on deck at the top of the batting order. Cougars with a threat here in the top half of the second inning. Whitehead at the belt. Checks the runner, pitches, and the ball hit on the ground right to the shortstop, Bennett. He'll go across to first. High throw, but coming off the bag to get it, Levin, and he tags LeGros sliding in, and that retires the side. A lot of things happening on that play. We'll talk about it when we come back. No runs, a hit, a walk, and 2 left. And after an inning and a half, it remains Mount Mansfield nothing and St. Johnsbury nothing. All right, George Como back with you, along with Essex Junction baseball coach Steve Ferrara. We're going to the bottom half of the second inning, Division I state championship game at Centennial Field. The Cougars of Mount Mansfield and the Academy of St. Johnsbury, 0-0. That last play in the top half of the second, Steve, they had the shortstop Bennett jockeying in behind the bag, trying to hold the runner close, and there was the ball hit right to him.
Well, again, you know, you talk about with the runners moving, infielders are going east and west. They're going back and forth between bases. The ball was hit right at him. No play at second. Had to go to first. The throw was off. Nice play by Dante Levin.
And as you speak of Dante Levin, who made the tag play off the bag, he will lead off for St. Johnsbury here in the bottom half of the second inning. Middle of the batting order, Levin, Tracy Ingalls, and Tim Santaw against the right-hander Chris Savage. And the first pitch is high and away, ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes.
Dante also has been named to the Twin State team representing Vermont.
1-0 pitch, breaking ball, caught the outside corner, 1 ball and 1 strike. Amazes me, Steve, doing this job. There are no 2 umpires that make exactly the same move on a strike call. Pitch up and in, 2-1. This guy kind of flicks his arm out to the right. It's not real emphatic.
Everybody's got their style.
2 balls and a strike now. Savage back with the pitch, and it's chopped on the ground to the right side. The second baseman Marshall in to get this, and throws to Nichols for the out. One away as Levin is out 4-3. Tracy Ingalls, the St. Johnsbury catcher, batting out of the number 5 hole in the batting order, will come to the plate here. Right-handed batter. As we said, St. Johnsbury, their first ever trip to a state championship game in baseball, which is really kind of amazing when you stop and think about the long history of St. Johnsbury Academy. Fastball up on the shoulder, and we have a first base runner of the night for St. Johnsbury as Ingalls took the pitch off the shoulder. He's okay down to first base. I said fastball, but it wasn't really. It looked like the thing just sort of slipped away from him a little bit, Steve.
The ball got away from him. You know, you talk about first time ever in the finals. A lot of these guys played football for the academy, and they were in the Division 1A.
They were indeed.
Finals football.
Runner at first with 1 out as Ingalls is on the hit by pitch, and Tim Santaw, the third baseman, to bat. Breaking ball in for the strike, 0-1.
Ingalls has good speed, George, and I would think that Peter's going to get him going here.
He had a big lead that time, and quickly bounces out to it again. And Savage goes over there. Nichols slaps it on him, but he's back safely. It's funny how things work out, too. You know, one sport does not necessarily translate into the other, although you do have a lot of the same kids playing sports. Pitch swung on, bounced down to third, fielded there by Brasso, goes to second for 1, back to first, not in time. Good play by Nichols as the throw was in the dirt. He keeps it from getting by. Fielder's choice for Santaw. 5-4 as they knock down the lead man Ingalls at second base, 2 away, and Lenny Koskowski, the left fielder, will be coming up. What I was going to say about different teams is look at Oxbow. Tremendous talent in baseball, led by Jamie Kingsbury. And yet 3 years in a row now, they've come to the Division III championship game. Lost years back-to-back to Enosburg, South Royalton, and now today to Peoples. It just, on any one day in baseball, it can happen to you.
It can happen to you. Baseball's a great game, especially high school.
And that Oxbow crew, a lot of those guys were on their state championship baseball team. This ball hit in the air down the left field line. Long run on the dive, and the catch by Darren Ladouceur. A foul ball catch off Koskowski to retire the side. Fine play by Ladouceur coming to the line. No runs, no hits. There was a hit batsman. 1 man left on base after 2 innings of play. It is Mount Mansfield nothing and St. Johnsbury nothing. All right, we come back to Centennial Field as we get ready for inning number 3. The Mount Mansfield Cougars and the St. Johnsbury Academy Hilltoppers at a 0-0 tie. Division I state championship action on WVMT Burlington. Want to remind you, Sunday afternoon, we'll have the return of pro baseball to Burlington as the Utica Blue Sox and the Glens Falls Cardinals get together at 3 o'clock. Again, we want as many folks as possible to make their way out here on Sunday afternoon. We'll broadcast the game right here, starting at 2:50. Top of the batting order for Mount Mansfield, Chris Savage, Darren Ladouceur, and Keith Carter. Up against Justin Whitehead. Savage grounded to short, leading off the ball game. He's 0 for 1. Justin Whitehead through the first couple of innings, allowed a couple of hits, a walk, a strikeout. Left-hander throws, and Savage takes strike 1 called. It is 0-1. A ball's and a strike on the Mount Mansfield pitcher. Pitch back, he checked, and it missed. 1 ball and 1 strike now. Twilight time starting to set in. Lights starting to take a little more effect now here at Centennial Field. Ground ball back up to the middle. Whitehead grabs it and tosses it to first in time for the out. 1 away. Come from the old school. I was taught by coaches from the old school, Steve. The old school says on a ball like that back to the mound, you don't just lob the ball over to first base, which is what Whitehead did. Because nasty things can happen when you lob the baseball.
Well, that's also in the new school, George. You know, you have to get the ball and just get it over there. A lot of times those lobs are right there, 10 feet over the first baseman's head.
1 out, nobody on. Ladouceur up grounded to short his first time. The pitch on the outside corner. Breaking ball. Strike 1 called. No balls and a strike. Whitehead kicks, throws, breaking ball away. 1 ball and 1 strike.
You know, Darren typifies the Mount Mansfield hitter. Just a tough kid at the plate, hitting the ball wherever it's pitched.
1-1 pitch. Swung on, fouled, straight back, 1-2. That's certainly typified by the way Coach Pete Wright is playing them. They're straight away. You could almost draw a string from home plate back through the box out to the center fielder, Josh Burnham. 1 ball, 2 strikes, the count on Ladouceur. Whitehead with the look in, and Ladouceur is going to back out on him now. Just heard what in the radio business we come to call the telltale crackle in my headsets, which means there's a little electrical storm somewhere close by. Pitch missed up and in, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Can't be that close because I don't see any dark clouds around here right now.
I can't believe that it cleared up so well.
Well, we've got about 5 innings to go and then let it rain for 2 days. Pitch swung on and hit down the left field line, and that is a foul ball. Foul ball down the left field line. Ladouceur pulling in at second base. He thinks it was fair. I don't think anybody else does. Nope. Okay. First base coach thought it was fair, and so he gave that word to Ladouceur going by, and he was on his way into second base. He said, hey, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying around in this bag. But it was foul by about 5 feet. And the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now the left-handed batter back in there. Whitehead rocks to the 2-2 pitch, and it's in the dirt. Scooped out by Ingles, and the count goes full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 on the Mount Mansfield left fielder. Whitehead rocks, pitches, and it's down low, ball 4. Whitehead wanted the call, so did Ingles. They don't get it. And Ladouceur on the 1-out base on balls. That's the second walk allowed by Whitehead.
With 1 out, I think you're going to see Darren moving here. Probably second or third pitch. You have probably one of the best hitters in the Metro League right now. And you've got one of the quickest kids in the Metro League on first base. Darren has a lot of speed.
The batter is Keith Carter, who banged the long double into the gap in left center field his last time.
I was just going to say Darren is probably one of the reasons that Keith has got 20-plus RBIs this year. He got on a lot, and Keith delivered them in.
Let's take a look at Ladouceur's numbers here. He's got 17 stolen bases, which leads the club. Of course, Whitehead, the left-hander, looking at him. Should be interesting. Ladouceur edges out and comes to the plate, and it's in on the inside corner at the letters for a strike to Carter, 0-1. Now, you got a lot of guys who like to take off and run. What about this kid's move?
Well, we only stole a couple of bases. Then again, we only had a couple of guys on, but he has a pretty good move. The thing with Whitehead, though, is when he comes to the plate, he'll start to move. He'll start to lean first.
Pitch swung on, driven high in the air to deep left field. The left fielder, Krakowski, backed by the fence, reaches up, and it's over his head. It falls in. Holding on at second is Ladouceur. He had to hold up thinking the ball was going to be caught, and Carter stands at first base. That thing was right back to the edge of the warning track, if there was a warning track, but Krakowski could not come up with it. Where's my official score when I need him? I think he touched the ball. If he did, it's going to be an error.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, George.
He got back underneath the ball and could not hold it. Now, for the moment, they put a base hit up on the board, and I got to go with what the official score says, but that's the longest fly ball single I've ever seen.
Again, you know, Keith, the first time up, probably came within about 5 feet hitting it out of here, and again, that was about 5 feet right down the line, and that ball got up in the wind. It was just a towering fly ball, and the left field had a lot of trouble. At this time of the night, you alluded to this a little while ago, when you have twilight in those lights, that ball gets up there, it loses itself, and you can only hear it coming down.
So here is a big chance again for Mount Mansfield. Last inning they had a couple on, but that was with 2 out. This time with 1 out. Runners at first and second, and the cleanup man, the right fielder Adam Sargent, up. He grounded to short his first time. Ladouceur, the runner at second. Carter, the runner at first. 1 away. Pitch inside. Ingalls reaches out to stab it. 1 ball and no strikes on Sargent.
George, I'm surprised they're not holding Keith on at first base. Dante's off the bag, and that takes away the potential double play.
You might be able to understand it with a left-handed bat up there, but you got a right-handed hitter at the plate. Pitches in for the strike, knee high, apparently. Sargent shakes his head as he backs away. 1 ball and 1 strike now on the right fielder of the Mount Mansfield Cougars.
This is an opportunity for Mount Mansfield to get these guys going, a hit and run with first and second. Bob likes to do this.
Runners take their lead. Ladouceur with a big one. The ball is popped up high in the air, right center field. The right fielder, Peter Brown, is over, makes the catch for the out. Ladouceur tags. He'll go to third, diving in. Runners at the corners with 2 out now for Mount Mansfield. Sargent flies to right. Ladouceur at third, Carter at first, 2 down. And the first baseman, Rick Nichols, comes up. He grounded out third to first back in the second inning.
Bob is asking for an offensive timeout. You're allowed 1 per inning. And with 2 outs, I'm sure they're going to set up the first and third.
Well, I would think that this would be an opportunity for Pete Wright to come out and do the same thing with his defense.
Well, talk about being young. What Peter probably doesn't realize is the fact that if he walked out to the mound right now, it's a free trip. It's not a charge conference if the offense calls a timeout.
Well, Slayton's conference with Carter, with Ladouceur, and with his hitter Nichols was a brief one. First and third, 2 out, top half of the third inning, no score in the ball game. They have not changed that scoring, incidentally, on that fly ball by Carter deep to left field that came off the glove of the left fielder. They have scored it as a hit. So 3 hits now for Mount Mansfield. And runners at first and third, 2 out, Nichols in from the right side. Big, tall, lanky right-handed hitter. Carter goes on the first pitch, showing bunt. Nichols lets it go. Now Carter stops. The runner's coming to the plate. He scores! Diving in out at first base is Carter, but the run is home, and Mount Mansfield leads it 1-0 as they work the steal play, and St. Johnsbury just completely forgot about Ladouceur coming home from third base. A run in the inning on a hit, and 1 man left. We'll talk about the play when we come back after 2.5 innings of play. It is Mount Mansfield 1, St. Johnsbury nothing. Last of the third, the Cougars have grabbed a 1-0 lead on the steal of home by Darren Ladouceur off the break at first base by Keith Carter. Talk about the play, if you would, Steve.
Well, first and third situation, Keith took off, went down about 2/3 of the way and stopped. Now the ball is down in Bennett's hands, and Bennett's got to make a decision. Does he chase Keith back, or does he return the throw? And this type of steal, first and third steal, is as soon as your shortstop makes his mind to chase the runner back to first base, the guy on third will take right off. So as the shortstop runs to first, the guy on third runs to the plate, and with Darren's speed, that's just about an automatic run. All Keith has to do is stay alive and don't get tagged out before Darren crosses the plate.
He almost made it back into the first base's bag also, although he was finally tagged out for the third out of the inning, but the run had scored. So it's 1-0 Mount Mansfield. And we're down to the bottom of the batting order for St. Johnsbury. 8, 9, and 1 in the batting order. Chris Rolfe, the second baseman, will lead off. He'll be followed by Aaron Fontaine. And then the top of the batting order in Justin Whitehead. Rolfe, a right-handed hitter against Chris Savage, who goes to the fastball and fires it up and away. 1 ball and no strikes. Now Savage rocks and throws and gets it in for the strike. It is 1 ball and 1 strike now on Rolfe. One back. Swung out hard, shot up the middle, center field, base hit for Rolfe. Matt LeGros covers and gets it back in, and Rolfe hitting out of the number 8 hole opens the third inning for St. Johnsbury with a base hit, and that's their first hit off Chris Savage. Runner at first, nobody out. The number 9 man, Aaron Fontaine, the designated hitter, will come to the plate.
Mansfield's looking for the bunt. Third baseman's up on the grass, and this would be a good bunt situation. You'd love to have a guy on second with the top of your order coming up.
Rosso edging in. The bunt by Fontaine, a good one. Rosso, the third baseman, will field. Fires to first just in time to knock down Fontaine, who showed some good speed down the line. Sacrifice. Make that 5-3 on Fontaine. Down to second is Rolfe, and that's the tying run there with 1 out. Top of the batting order, Justin Whitehead, who grounded out to second his first time. Pitch by Savage, and he missed off the outside corner. Ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes.
That was a great bunt. Put down very well down the line, and a great play by the third baseman.
Now Savage at the belt. Breaking ball, rolled foul up the third base side. Carter to pick it up. Just for a second, I started to say rolled foul, and then I saw the ball coming to the edge of that grass, and I had the visions of the ball hitting the edge of the grass and kicking back. You've seen that happen. Not often, but you do see it happen.
That's why, as a catcher, you have to pop on that ball as quick as you can when it's foul.
1 ball, 1 strike count here. Savage at the belt with the pitch, and he fired it up high, and he falls behind now. 2-1 on Whitehead. 2 balls and a strike on the St. Johnsbury pitcher. Josh Burnham, the center fielder, would be next here. Tying run at second. 1 out, last of the third. Pitch swung on, looped foul over to the St. J dugout. Nice catch by the coach. Pete Wright pulls it down. 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's funny, I hadn't met Pete Wright until tonight, Steve, and I went down there. I wasn't sure if he was a coach or one of the players. And we talk about a young guy.
Youthful.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Here it is. Fastball. Carter holds it there. Doesn't get the call. A little high, I think, was what the plate umpire said. The count's full now. 3-2 on Whitehead. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Savage at the belt. The pitch. And it's lined back off the mound and into center field for a base hit. Coming to third, getting the hold up sign is the runner Rolfe. Throw comes back into the middle of the infield. And runners at the corners for St. Johnsbury with 1 away. A hard shot back to the box. And that almost took Mr. Savage's head off. He just did get it down out of the way. I thought for a second it caught a piece of him, but with the speed it went into center field. I don't think it did, Steve. It just got over his shoulder.
Yeah, I think he tried to get that glove up, and if anything, it might have nicked the glove, but that was a shot. Those you don't field very well. Just get out of the way and let your center fielder do the best job he can.
Ball hit so hard that Rolfe can only advance to third base. So runners at the corners, 1 out. And the center fielder, Josh Burnham, coming up. He flied out to right field. His first time, 0 for 1.
Now, here's a little offensive strategy now. You have Justin on first base, football quarterback, a lot of speed. You have a left-hander up, hides the steal. I think you're going to see him going.
Fair lead over there. Pitch out on the first pitch. The Cougars thought something was on. Nothing was. 1 ball, no strikes. Now after the pitch out, is something definitely on?
Well, Pete just went through a whole sequence of signs. I would say yes.
Runner does not go. Pitch way outside. I don't know if it was meant to be a pitch out again. If it was, Carter didn't think so. He had to reach out spirit. 2 balls and no strikes. And with each pitch out there, the probability of something being on increases here. 2-0 pitch, check swing, little bloop down the left field line. That's a fair ball. The run will score. Runners at first and second. It's 1-1 on a check swing bloop single into left field by Josh Burnham. Not a heck of a lot anybody can do about that. He just checked the swing, and it dropped in 2 or 3 feet fair, down about 75 feet beyond the third base bag.
Well, it was a great pitch. It was an inside fastball, 2 balls, no strikes, and he was just trying to get out of the way, I think, and it just Texas leagued in.
Runners at first and second, still 1 out. The batter, Matt Bennett, the shortstop, takes the breaking ball for the strike. So St. J comes right back here. with 3 hits and the tying run here in the last of the third. Savage with the pitch, and it's popped up. Foul ground off third. Brasso, the third baseman, makes the catch. 2 down. Bennett fouls to the third baseman. Now 2 away with runners at first and second. And Dante Levin, the first baseman, comes up. He grounded out to second base his first time.
Well, we've been at this just about an hour, and we've come to the first critical point of this game. 2 outs, these runners are going to be going on contact, and you have probably the best power hitting left-hander in the league, and this guy just drills the left center field gap.
Levin in from the left-hand side. Savage checks in with Carter, checks the runner, and the breaking ball is hit in the air to left field. The left fielder allowed to serve back, now comes in, slips, but stays with it and makes the catch to retire the side. St. J ties it up, a run on 3 hits, 2 left, and after 3, it's a 1-1 tie. All right, George Como back with you at Centennial Field in Burlington. We go to the top half of the 4th inning with the St. Johnsbury Academy Hilltoppers, the Mount Mansfield Cougars tied at 1. The totals here identical. A run on 3 hits, no errors, and 3 men left on base for both clubs through the first 3 innings of play. And in the 4th for Mount Mansfield, it'll be Rick Nichols, Ted Alexander, and Doug Brasso coming up against Justin Whitehead. Nichols was left at the plate when the Cougars pulled the attempted double steal. It got them the steal home, the steal they wanted for the run back in the 3rd inning. Carter was then thrown out going back into first base for the last out of the inning. Nichols is 0 for 1. He grounded to third back in the 2nd inning. Justin Whitehead through 3 innings has allowed 3 hits. He's walked 2, struck out 1, and Nichols rips one in the air to left field, but the left fielder hardly has to move. Kuczowski there, and he makes the catch for the out. Good contact by Nichols, but he lines out to the left fielder. 1 away, and Ted Alexander, the shortstop, struck out swinging in the 2nd inning. He's 0 for 1. The wind at Centennial Field freshening a little bit from what we had earlier, a little stronger now out toward left and left center field. Alexander shows bunt, and it's a strike.
Ted's had a great year for the Cougars this year. He up until this year, he's been a pitcher shortstop, and Bob has anchored him at shortstop. He's had a great season.
No ball, 1 strike pitch, swung on, popped up. Foul ground off the first base side. Levin makes the catch just outside the coaching box, and Alexander out on the foul pop. 2 away quickly for the Cougars here in the 4th inning, and the third baseman Doug Brasso coming up. Good crowd on hand, as we said. A lot of children in the stands tonight. Mr. Kruller is here tonight from our friends at the Coffee Cup Bakery, entertaining all the youngsters. Pitch swung on and missed, strike 1. My kids were down at the Lake Champlain Transportation Company open house the other day, and they just loved Mr. Kruller. I understand he's getting married.
To?
Miss Kruller.
Ah, Mrs. Kruller.
Okay. Pitch off the outside corner, 1-1. It's part of the 4th of July, actually 3rd of July fireworks display in Burlington, which is being sponsored by Coffee Cup this summer. 1 ball, 1 strike count here on Doug Brasso, and it's off the outside corner, 2-1 on the Cougar third baseman. He walked back in the 2nd inning. Now Whitehead back with a pitch and a swing and a foul straight back to the screen, and the count even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. After tonight, no more high school sports in the state of Vermont until, well, other than all the All-Star games, of course, until late August, early September. Breaking ball inside, and the count is 3-2 on Brasso. We were saying over with Mac McAllister during the Division III game, Steve, is this the latest date you can ever remember for a state championship game?
Oh, there's no question. Usually this game is around the 8th or 10th.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Brasso down on strikes. That's number 2 for Whitehead. And the Cougars go 1-2-3 in the 4th. After 3.5 innings of play, it remains Mount Mansfield 1 and St. Johnsbury 1. Last half of inning number 4 now here at Centennial Field, 1-1 tie. State Championship Division I baseball on WVMT Burlington, and it will be Tracy Ingalls, Tim Santaw, and Lenny Kozowski, the 5, 6, and 7 batters in the order for the St. Johnsbury Academy Hilltoppers up against Chris Savage. Ingalls was hit by a pitch back in the 2nd inning. Savage delivers, and the ball is popped out over second base. Tough chance, and run down nicely by Marshall. Trevor Marshall going back to get it. He lost the ball, but long after he'd held it long enough for the out, and a fine play on the little bloop off the bat of Ingalls, one away.
Those are tough plays, George. You know, that was a little number off the end and had a lot of outspin on it, and he went right back and made a heck of a play on that bloop.
1 out, nobody on in the 4th for St. J. Tim Santaw, the 3rd baseman, reached on a fielder's choice his first time. Cuts and misses on the first pitch from Savage, strike 1.
I think both these teams, as I remember the overall team stats, were 1-2 in defense.
A 1 pitch. Ball lined to right field. The right fielder right there. Sargent up now. A step or 2. He's got it. 2 down. Santaw lines to the right fielder. 2 gone in the 4th for St. J. You're wondering about head-to-head competition between these two clubs. As I quickly run down through my sheet, I don't see any.
Well, what happened was Mansfield came back with, I believe...
Oh, no, I'm wrong. I missed it. It's 5-4 Mount Mansfield.
Right, and they came back with 2 or 3 runs in the bottom of the 7th to win that game. I tell you, the Cougars do that a lot this year.
Yeah. Lenny Kozowski, the left fielder, up and takes strike 1. Next pitch, missing off the outside corner, 1-1 now. Kozowski flied to left his first time. Savage with the pitch, leaves the breaking ball outside. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Boy, that outfield's playing shallow. That's unbelievable.
Oh, they really are.
Oh, those guys aren't more than about 220, 30 feet away.
Ball is popped up, foul backing out of play up on the roof. 2 balls, 2 strikes now on Kozowski. Great night at the ballpark. A lot of folks here. And who knows, if a lot of people come out Sunday when the minor league clubs are here, we might have this all next summer at Centennial Field with a new minor league team.
Oh, that'd be great.
Pitch, chop, foul at the plate, 2-2. Of course, Ray Pecor of Lake Champlain Transportation's been working very hard over the last few years to try to make that happen. And this is a test case game on Sunday. I don't think anybody's denying that. I asked Ray about that. He's flat out said, you bet it is. Get as many people in the ballpark as we can. Here's a long drive to right field. That shallow outfield's been burned in right. Back to get the ball, Adam Sargent around second. Kozowski on his way to 3rd, and he's going to pull in with a stand-up triple deep to right field.
Well,
You called it, Steve.
Well, I tell you, these guys were playing really shallow. I'm talking about Junior Babe Ruth shallow, and that was a fly ball. It was hit, made the fence on about 4 hops, but I almost think that if somebody was playing normal, they probably could have got back on that ball.
So Kozowski, the lead run, is at 3rd with 2 out here. And the second baseman, Chris Rolfe, coming up. He lined a single to center field his first time and scored the first St. Johnsbury run. Runner at 3rd with 2 away. Savage with the pitch up over the head. Getting the breaking ball. Looked like it slipped out of his hand. Carter went over to get it. Rolfe went down into the dirt. 1 ball and no strikes. First base is open, but I don't think that means anything in that particular case, folks. Although there were a few boos from the St. Johnsbury rooting section.
He doesn't want to hit anybody now.
1 ball, no strikes. Pitch. Fastball on the inside corner for the strike. It is 1-1. 1 ball and 1 strike here on Chris Rolfe. Pitch back in the dirt. Carter coops it out of there. 2 balls and a strike. With a runner at third, the catcher becomes all the more important back there, and Carter saved a run right there with that one.
He's a great defensive catcher. I mean, not only is he a real super hitter, but does a real nice job back there.
2-1 pitch. Swung on, line drive, center field, base hit. St. Johnsbury leads the game 2-1 on the RBI single by Rolfe. And the Cougars get the lead, a 2-out triple from their number 7 hitter, or the Hilltoppers, I should say, get the lead on the 2-out triple by their left fielder, and the 2-out single by their second baseman, the number 7 and 8 hitters in the order.
Now, who was it before the game was saying that the bottom of the St. Johnsbury batting order may not quite be as strong as the Mount Mansfield bottom?
I don't know. It was somebody went through here. I haven't seen them lately.
I'd like to know his name.
Yeah.
I tell you, these guys ripping the ball and making me look bad. Good for them.
Rolfe 2 for 2 with a run scored and now a big RBI. 2-1 St. J. The batter is Fontaine, the DH, and he swings and misses strike 1.
Do you think there's a radio in the dugout?
Yeah, maybe among the fans down there behind the dugout. They probably passed the word on.
Say no more.
No balls and a strike. Pitch on the outside corner for a strike called. It is 0-2. Just let me see here. Kazaka is a junior, and Rolfe is he's a senior. He can't come back and hurt you next year. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Fontaine down on strikes. 3 pitches to retire the side, but St. Johnsbury with 2-out thunder. A run on 2 hits, 1 left. They've got the lead after 4 at St. Johnsbury 2 and Mount Mansfield 1. 5th inning in a rapidly moving ball game at Centennial Field. A 2-1 lead for the St. Johnsbury Academy Hilltoppers in pursuit of their first ever Division I baseball championship. And the Cougars of Mount Mansfield trying to get it back even. They had a 1-0 lead with a run in the top of the 3rd. St. J tied it in the bottom of the 3rd, got the lead in the bottom of the 4th. And now the Cougars come up with the designated hitter Corey Hebron to lead it off. Then Matt LeGros and Chris Savage against Justin Whitehead.
What an experience for a sophomore, this Hebron boy. You know, played JVs the entire year and relegated to that duty, and all of a sudden here he is at Centennial.
Hebron had a base hit his first time. Infield single. Squares and takes a strike on the inside corner, 0-1.
Fine-looking athlete.
Young man who will be at it for a couple more years for the Cougars. 0-1 pitch. Swings, rolls it down to the first baseman. Handled there and stepped on the bag. Dante Levin records the putout on Hebron. 1 out, first baseman unassisted. Matt LeGros, the center fielder, coming up. He grounded out to short back in the 2nd inning. Hilltoppers out hitting the Cougars 5-3, outscoring them 2-1 here in the top half of inning number 5. Now Whitehead with the pitch and gets it in for the strike. It is 0-1. Left-hander not wasting any time, right back. And the ball is driven high in the air, deep to left field. Left fielder Koskowski going back. It's over his head up against the fence. LeGros around first will pull into second with a 1-out double. Oh, we've seen some shots smoked by the Cougars in this one. A couple of long shots by Carter, Steve, and LeGros put a pretty good charge into that one.
Well, we were talking between innings here. These are Division I hits. There's no seeing eye ground balls or bloops outside of that one-check swing. These are just shooters.
Tying run at second now with 1 out in the top of the batting order coming up. Savage, Ladouceur, maybe Carter to try to get it in here. Savage is 0 for 2. He's grounded to short and grounded out pitcher to first.
This is where Mount Mansfield's tough. You know, middle innings, late innings, and now these kids just dig right in and get their swings in. Tell you, the one thing St. Johnsbury doesn't want to do is get Carter up there with men on base.
The lead at second by LeGros. The pitch is popped foul back, and it hits the screen. Long, long way back here at Centennial Field, and Ingalls gave it the sprint, but even if he had got there, it would have been up too high on the net for him to catch. No balls and 1 strike.
You know, Judge, one of the things that you have here that you don't have in most high school parks is about 90 feet to the backstop, and a lot of times a wild pitch will get you 2.
We've seen that a couple times in other divisional finals here. In fact, there was one here in the first game this afternoon, the D3 game. 0-1 pitch, fastball high, 1-1. In that game, incidentally, People's Academy of Morrisville beat Oxbow 5-2 to take the Division III championship.
Want to congratulate G. Nelson, coached the Essex JVs for 12 years, and now is over at Peoples.
Pitch down low, 2-1. Told me it was only right that if you won one last year, that he had to get one this year.
He's a great coach, a great person, great individual.
2 balls, 1 strike. Pitch swung on, ground ball, foul. Past the bag at third. And the count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Oh, I have an important question. As I see the smoke wafting out of the coach's cooking area down there, with you up here, who's handling the burgers tonight? Is it Coach Picard?
Well, yeah, I handed over the spatula to Donnie, but we have the wives. My wife's there, and I believe Mrs. Picard is there. And so the ladies are taking care of the blaze right now.
And the smoke is all drifting away from the field, which is a good sign.
Are those fire trucks coming down the driveway?
I haven't seen them yet, but I'm expecting them any minute. 2-2 pitch coming. And Savage strikes out swinging.
Nice curveball.
Strikeout number 3 for Whitehead, and he gets it in a key spot now. 2 away. And it'll be up to Ladouceur, who has scored the Mount Mansfield run. The left fielder grounded to short in the first. Walked. Moved up on a single and scored on a double steal attempt, delayed steal attempt, back in the 3rd inning. That's the only Mount Mansfield run.
Well, we're at another one of these points in the game. Very important turning point here.
LeGros the lead at second. Ladouceur thought about it, lays off, and it's on the outside corner for a strike. 0-1.
Here you have a real tough hitter with 2 outs and one of the league's best hitter on deck.
No balls and 1 strike. Pitch swung on, a little roller off the fist, back to the mound. Whitehead's got it, tosses it to first, and St. Johnsbury gets out of the jam. No runs after the 1-out double, a man left. And we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. St. Johnsbury 2, Mount Mansfield 1. All right, at Centennial Field, it's the bottom half of inning number 5. George Como with Essex baseball coach Steve Ferrero sitting alongside. A 2-1 lead for the St. Johnsbury Academy Hilltoppers over the Mount Mansfield Cougars. And St. J will have the top of their batting order. Justin Whitehead, Josh Burnham, and Matt Bennett due up here against Chris Savage. Again, want to remind you, Sunday afternoon, minor league baseball makes its return to Burlington as the Utica Blue Sox and the Glens Falls Cardinals will go at it. I want to clarify one thing. There's some people around town who think this is some sort of an exhibition game or something. It is not. This is a regular season New York Penn League game. They're playing a series in Glens Falls this weekend, and through the courtesy of the people down in Glens Falls, so let's face it, it's their interest to have another franchise up in this part of the world, and they'd like to see something happen up here in Burlington. They're sending the teams up here to play on a Sunday afternoon at Centennial Field. It's Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock, and we hope to see a big, big crowd out here. Top of the batting order, and Whitehead leading off for St. Johnsbury in the 5th. He takes ball 1 from Savage.
This becomes a critical point for both teams right now. Bottom of the 5th, a 2-1 lead, and the Cougars right now want to get out of here after 5 with that margin. If St. Johnsbury can put a couple up here, it's going to make it real difficult.
Savage missing again, and he's behind 2 balls and no strikes now. Right-hander Whitehead swinging away, fouls it back to the screen. It's 2-1. Whitehead has grounded to second and singled. 1 for 2 in the ball game.
A little trivia about Justin. He was the captain of football, basketball, and baseball, so he's got the triple stars.
Breaking ball, bouncing ball to the left side. The shortstop fielding it. Strong throw by Alexander to get him. One away.
Nice play.
I thought for just a second that Doug Brasso had made a mistake letting it go, but then I see the strong arm of Alexander, and he knew what he was doing all along.
We were talking about that last year with Teddy playing pitching and shortstop. He didn't do both. He didn't do well at both. And Bob put him at shortstop and basically gave it to him for the full 16-plus tournament. He's been excellent.
One out, nobody on in the fifth for St. J. Josh Burnham, the center fielder, up, and he takes the strike. Burnham flied to right in the first, singled, knocking in the tying run back in the third. The first of the two St. J runs. Swings here, rolls it to the right side. The second baseman Marshall's got it, throws to Nichols for the out. Quickly, 2 up, 2 down for St. Johnsbury here in the fifth inning. And Matt Bennett, the shortstop, coming up. Bennett 0 for 2, called out on strikes in the first and fouled to the third baseman in the third. Checking my scorecard here as close as I can. Let's see. 1, 2. Savage has allowed 5 hits, 2 runs, hasn't walked anybody, struck out 2.
Burnham's back up.
No, Burnham is back at the plate. And he swings and hits the ball high in the air to right field. The right fielder back and making the catch, going away to retire Burnham again. What happened? The ball was off a foot?
It must have been. You know,
I had written it down in the book and was describing all kinds of other things. I didn't realize Burnham was back up at the plate, but apparently the ball was fouled off his foot because he got another chance, and he flies out to deep right field. The crowd wants to know what's going on. They don't know it was the same guy at the plate. They think that was the third out of the inning. No, I wasn't the only one who was fooled. It was the same guy, folks. 2 away, and the batter is Bennett, and he takes a strike on the inside corner.
Well,
nothing in 1.
The Mount Mansfield crowd here standing up, holding 3 fingers up.
Well, they got 3 outs up on the scoreboard, too. Now they just took them down. Umpires are going to make this a little clearer. I'm lucky I had Hawkeye Ferrara with me, or I would have been thinking exactly the same thing.
Well, leave it up to a coach. You know, I want to know why the guy who just grounded out is up in the batter's box again.
2 out, nobody on. 1-1 pitch, breaking ball for the strike, and it's 1-2 now on Bennett.
I didn't see any hands go up by the home plate umpire, and the first base umpire gave him the hammer at first, but obviously it had to go off of something other than the bat.
Sure looked like it was a clean chopper off the fist. Ball foul to the screen, and the count holds at 1-2. And in a case like that, we're not going to get on the umpire's case. If they made the call, that's the right call. I certainly can't argue with their decision, but you got to clarify it a little bit for the people to explain what happened.
I agree.
1 ball, 2 strike count. Here's the pitch. And the ball is swung on and hit high in the air to left center field. The center fielder, Legros, ranging over and back, and he runs it down to the out to retire the side. So we thought we had 4 outs in the inning, but we know we've had 3. 3 up, 3 down, and 5 innings now complete at Centennial Field. St. Johnsbury 2, Mount Mansfield 1. All right, we're back at Centennial Field. 6th inning coming up. 2-1 St. Johnsbury leading Mount Mansfield, and the meat of the order for the Cougars. Keith Carter, Adam Sargent, and Rick Nichols coming up against the left-hander Justin Whitehead. Whitehead through 5 innings has allowed 4 hits and 1 run. Walked 2, struck out 3. Carter has gone deep twice. He doubled into the gap in left center field in the first inning, and then in the third hit one to the fence in left that came off the glove of the left fielder Kozlowski. Ladouceur could only move up about halfway to 3/4 of the way to second base to see if it would fall in, so he only made it to second. Carter got credit for a single. Takes down low, ball 1. Bottom line, Keith is 2 for 2 with 2 long shots.
You know, much has been said about Keith being Jim's son and my godson, but his mother, Susan, is a lovely woman and #1 fan for the Cougars.
Forget her. Pitch is low and away. 2 balls and no strikes.
Now, there was a great article by Sally Pollock back earlier this week about Keith and Jim, and Susan was not mentioned, and I tell you, she's the backbone of that family.
2 balls and no strikes. Low, ball 3. He's not seeing much right here. Although you don't want to walk the tying run on with nobody out either.
Well, a walk is better than seeing the ball take 2 bounces off the fence.
3-0. Gets the strike, knee high outside half. 3-1 now on Carter. The other thing about Keith is, talk about competitors. Mega intensity with this young man.
It definitely is. You know, and he's real a quiet boy away from the field.
3-1 pitch, line drive, stabbed on the dive by the third baseman, Santaw for the out. To his left, Tim Santaw takes a leadoff single away from Carter. One away.
You know, it's ironic. That's probably the hottest ball that Keith hit all night, and that is not a hit. That was a great play by Santaw.
One away for the Cougars of the 6th.
Got to mark that down on your book.
Adam Sargent, right fielder, 0 for 2. He's grounded to short and flied to right, and he takes ball 1.
You know, Keith is that type of hitter. A lot of guys 3-1, and they're looking for ball 4. Keith and a handful of hitters 3-1, and they're looking for that fastball to try to knock it from here to kingdom come, and that's what makes good hitters, hitting that 2-0 and 3-1 pitch.
1 ball, no strike pitch. Sargent takes the strike. It is 1-1 now on Adam Sargent. Whitehead right back with a 1-1 pitch. Gets it in outside half for a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes now on Adam Sargent. The left-hander Whitehead kicks, throws, and he misses up and in. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Left-hander back. Low, bounces a couple of feet away from the catcher Ingalls, and the count is full now. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Adam Sargent.
Justin has great mannerisms on the mound. He just gets the ball, looks in, and throws the ball. Real competitive spirit.
3-2 with 1 away, and here it is, and it's lined right to the third baseman, Santaw. This one goes off the glove. Sargent takes the big turn at first, holds on, and I guess what goes around comes around. That one was right to the third baseman, Santaw, off the glove, and he picks up the error after the great diving play.
That's amazing. I mean, first of all, that ball had a charge in it, so that wasn't just a looping line drive. That thing was tagged, but that was right at him. Maybe he's got to lay out prone in order to come up with the ball.
Well, it all equals out, I guess. You got a runner at first with 1 out. And the batter is Rick Nichols, who's gone 0 for 2 with a ground ball to third and a line drive to left field.
And we're going to have a pinch runner for Sarge. Paul Pecor, who is noted for his basketball prowess over at Mount Mansfield, is now running in.
So Pecor pinch running represents the tying run.
You know, it's amazing with Paul. Ever since he was about 2, maybe 2.5, he's been playing basketball. And been playing on the varsity for 4 years. And here he makes the finals in baseball. This is the first year he's been out.
Amazing. Well, he carries a very big run right here.
A lot of speed.
And takes the strike on the outside corner, 0-1. And Whitehead, the left-hander with that move, actually had Pecor heading back to the bag as the ball came to the plate that time.
That's one of the disadvantages of not playing this game until your senior year is a left-handed move. It takes a while to learn how to read that.
No balls and a strike on Nichols. He gets a ground ball. The shortstop Bennett has it. He'll go to second for the force, and that is all they will get. Fielder's choice for Nichols. They knock down Pecor 6-4 at second base. And with a runner at second and 2 out now, the batter will be Ted Alexander, the shortstop, who has struck out swinging and fouled the first baseman.
You know, there's an advantage of having a lefty on the mound with a good move, because Mansfield is the type of team that will just run and run and run, and they cannot get a read on Justin. And they're just hanging right around that base.
First pitch, and Alexander rips it foul past Coach Slayton in the box at third, strike 1. Now, as you said, they do like to run, and Nichols has been one of the prime guys. He's got 11 steals this year, but he has to worry about the left-handed move. No balls and a strike on Ted Alexander. Pitch coming. And it's in at the knees for a strike called. Alexander barking on the call. He's down, no balls and 2 strikes.
No, with all the good moves that Justin has, he's only gone over once. And I think if I was Bob, I'd send him right now. Got to get that infield moving. Teddy's a contact hitter, too.
0-2 on Alexander. He does go. The pitch is popped up. Middle of the infield, actually in near the plate. The catcher wants it, and he drops it. It's a foul ball, I think.
It is foul.
Tracy Ingles got the glove on it, couldn't hold it. It's a tough chance for a catcher, but he had it in the glove.
Yeah,
and he had a pitcher waiting there to take it if he didn't want to take it.
Yeah. He never turned his back to the infield, and as a catcher, when those pops go up, the first thing you have to do is turn your back to the infield and start backpedaling, and he continued facing the pitcher.
They haven't put an error up on the board yet, but I think I would if I had the choice here.
Yeah.
Runner at first goes back. Count still 2 strikes on Alexander. Now Bob Slayton comes in and questioning, hey, where did he touch that ball? It says foul.
It was
Slayton
foul.
says okay.
It was foul.
No balls, 2 strikes.
Well, let's see if they start him off again.
He does not go, and Alexander strikes out swinging to retire the side. No runs, no hits. There was an error, 1 left. We go to the last of the 6 that remains. St. Johnsbury 2, Mount Mansfield 1. Right, it's the last half of inning number 6 now at Centennial Field. St. Johnsbury Academy with a 2-1 lead, and they come up trying to get an insurance run for Justin Whitehead. They'll have Dante Levin, Tracy Ingles, and Tim Santaw up against Chris Savage. You're listening to High School Division I Championship Baseball on Radio 620 WVMT, where Sunday afternoon you can hear minor league New York Penn League baseball as the Utica Blue Sox and the Glens Falls Cardinals go at it here at Centennial Field, and we hope you'll come on over and pack the place. Let the New York Penn League know exactly what Burlington and the Chittenden County community feels about getting baseball back here. Dante Levin to lead it off, 0 for 2. He is grounded to second and flied to left. Left-handed batter against Savage, who's allowed only 5 hits, but a run each for for St. Johnsbury of the 3rd and 4th innings. They got the lead run in the 4th, a 2-out triple by Kozowski, and the 2-out single by Rolfe. First pitch is high, and the ball. 1 ball, no strikes on Levin. Go ahead, Steve.
Oh, you know, Judge, we've been talking about the outfield playing shallow. The center fielder is shallow against Levin. And again, this is the type of guy that can just burn any outfield with his hitting ability. He hit some unbelievable shots.
1 ball, 1 strike count now. Pitch back, and he drives the ball in the air to left field. Ladouceur is there, comes up, and he's got it for the out. 1 away in the 6th inning for St. J. And that'll bring up the catcher, Tracy Ingles. He was hit by a pitch in the 2nd, and then popped to the second baseman in the 4th.
This is a key inning for Chris Savage and his fellow Cougars. Going into that last inning 1 down is kind of normal and natural for these guys. But if they have to go down 2 or 3 in a big game like this, that could be tough to come back.
Breaking ball over for the strike, 0-1.
And he's facing some of the better hitters that the Academy can throw at him.
They'll have the bottom 3rd coming up in the 7th inning. Brasso, Hebron, and LeGros due up.
That was the same 3 that came up last Wednesday.
Pitch high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Something about lightning striking twice. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out.
High school baseball is fun.
Breaking ball, popped up, foul, long run for everybody. No one will get to it. The diving effort by the 3rd baseman, Brasso, but no chance. And the count of ball and 2 strikes on Ingles.
You know, Judge, you talk about high school baseball, but just the enthusiasm of these guys and the entire season, the entire Metro League season this year. We just saw a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of spirit. I mean, a lot of people having a good time.
1-2-strike pitch. Swung on and blooped out over second base. That's going to fall into center field. Bounces past the center fielder, LeGros. Sargent backs up the play, but pulling it at second is Ingalls with a double. Runner at second with 1 out. Santaw, the third baseman, will be coming up.
Tracy just took that ball. It was an outside breaking pitch, and he just went with it and put it into short right center.
And that's a very big run if St. J could get it home here with 1 out in the 6th inning. Santaw has reached on a fielder's choice and lined out to right. Swings on the first pitch, fouls it back, strike 1.
Do you think Mr. Rolfe is going to get another chance to go 3 for 3 and quiet me, but good?
I would say he's got a potential opportunity here. He's a couple hitters down the line. First, Kozlowski out of that 7th spot in the order had the big triple last time. He's on deck here. Spinner run move to second base, and Alexander tried a little bit of a decoy right there. That was cute.
Yeah, you gotta love it.
The runner breaking back to the bag. The shortstop Alexander took the throw, but then pretended he didn't have it. Went running out towards center field, hoping that the runner Ingalls would break away from the bag. He did not. Now the pitch to the plate misses up and in. Now the count goes to a ball and a strike on Santaw. One ball, 1 strike count. Pitch coming. And it's blooped foul off the first base side. Long run for Nichols. No chance to get to it. And the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. We have activity now in the St. Johnsbury bullpen down the right field side. Number 17 is Matt Bennett, who is also the shortstop, of course, but getting an opportunity to throw a little bit down there as a potential relief man. Breaking ball, a ball driven in the air and foul down the left field line. Long run, and the dive, Ladouceur, and foul ground, can't get to the ball. And the count holding at a ball and 2 strikes on Santaw.
You know, that's a good move on Pete Wright's part. Here you have Matt Bennett, who came 1 pitch away from throwing a no-hitter against Rutland in the quarterfinals, and Matt brings a lot of power from the right side, and he's just getting himself ready in case Justin runs into any trouble in that last inning.
It's good to have that 1-2 pitch on the mound, that 1-2 punch.
Certainly is.
1-2 pitch. Runner goes at second, for third, and the pitch is fouled back to the screen. Ingalls breaking on that one. Santaw fouled it back, and the count holds at 1-2.
Easiest base to steal is third base, and that's because you don't really practice the defense against that. You get a big jump. Teddy's playing back almost on the grass at shortstop, and Tracy is just getting himself a real good lead.
Alexander bluffing in behind the runner. Now the pitch swung on, line drive, left field. It'll be in for a base hit. Ladouceur plays it on a hop. They'll hold the runner at third. Throw comes back into the bag. Runners at the corners for St. Johnsbury now with 1 away on the single by Santaw.
Bob Slayton's on his way out. He wants to make sure that this first and third doesn't come back and do the same thing that it did against St. Johnsbury for Mount Mansfield's run.
He's got Carter coming out to the mound, and Savage is there. The batter is Kozlowski, the left fielder, who after flying out in the second hit the long shot, burning the shallow Mount Mansfield outfield. He put it over Sargent's head in right field for a triple in the 4th, and then Rolfe, the next man up, delivered the single that knocked in the run that is the difference in this game right now, 2-1. 2 hits in the inning now, 7 in the game for St. Johnsbury off Savage. They're out hitting the Cougars 7-4. Lead them on the board 2-1. Slayton clarifying things out there with his battery, and now heads back toward the dugout. Also motioning things out to the outfield.
Well, it's basically, what are you going to play for a defense? You know, first and third, you got a little bit of speed on first base. He's going to take off. Do you throw down? Do you throw back to the pitcher? This is the sideline crowd loves the coach, but these are the decisions that make or break a game.
Now the second baseman Marshall creeping up near the edge of the grass. First pitch, line drive, right center field, base hit, and in the gap. That will score 1 run. It may score 2. Here's Santaw around the bag at third. They will hold him up. but a run is home. Runners at second and third. It is 3-1 St. Johnsbury on the double into the gap by Larry Kozlowski. The guy who had the triple last time has a double this time. He hit the first pitch.
Yeah, George, I tell you, great base running by Tim Santor. He came around third base, missed the bag, and stopped and went back. I tell you, a lot of inexperienced kids would keep on going, would have crossed the plate, everybody would have jumped on top of him, and then the umpire would have hammered him. That's why these guys are here, and a lot of other teams are not.
So Larry Kozlowski with the big double. And now runners are at second and third, and here's your man, Chris Rawl.
Chris
Rawl.
Chris, I'm sorry.
A pair of singles. He scored a run and knocked one in, and he takes ball one, and Carter wants to know where it was. Infield in tight now all the way around for the Cougars with runners at second and third and one out. 3-1 St. Johnsbury, bottom of the sixth. Pitch in for the strike. And it's 1-1 now on Rawl.
Well, I tell you, this is huge right now for both teams. 3-1 deficit and potentially 4 or 5-1, and that could be insurmountable.
Savage from the windup. Pitch, ground ball down to third. Backhanded stop by the third baseman. He's going to go across to first. Not in time, and a run scores. Diving stop by Brasso. Decided, and I think rightly so, he did not have a play at the plate. Tried to get the out at first base, but Rolf beats it out. He is 3 for 3, Steve. And the run batted in. It's 4-1 with runners at first and second and still one out.
Before I apologize to Chris for the 5th time, I got to tell you that Dougie Brasso made a play of plays there. He just took a double down the line, came up throwing, and just missed him.
First and second, still one out. 2 big runs home. St. J with a 4-1 lead. And a line drive foul over the top of the dugout into the bleachers off the first base side by Aaron Fontaine. Strike one. Now check that. We may have a pinch hitter here, and we do for Fontaine. It is number 15, Jesse McLean. McLean is the pinch hitter.
So he's doing what a pinch hitter should do. He just came out of that dugout with that bat and just took a wicked cut, and that's what he's there for.
Runners at first and second, one out. McLean swings and misses, and got 1 and 2 or 0 and 2.
No, 0 and 2.
They've got 1 and 2 on the board, but it is no balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah. Young man's been waiting about an hour and 3/4 for this opportunity, and he's going to take his rips.
0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Savage fans him. Strikeout number 3 for Chris Savage. 2 away now. And back to the top of the St. Johnsbury batting order for Justin Whitehead. Whitehead, the pitcher, staked now to a 3-run lead. At the plate, he's 1 for 3. Grounded to second, singled, grounded to short. 2 on, 2 out. Pitch high. 1 ball, no strikes.
Tell you, I'm down looking at Pete Wright, and the young man is pacing. I think all of a sudden now he's nervous.
Pitch, line drive, center field, base hit. Up with it, LeGros, runner at third. They hold him. The throw sails into the plate. And the bases are loaded on the single by Whitehead, his second hit of the ball game. Kozlowski, the runner at third now. Rolf, the runner at second. Whitehead's at first, and Josh Burnham, the center fielder, coming up. That is 5 hits in the inning. And now a total of 10 in the game for St. Johnsbury off Chris Savage.
And I think you'll see Bob Slayton. He's about 20 feet out of the dugout. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if he comes out and just talks to Chris a little bit.
Hanging in for the moment. And Savage will pitch to Burnham. And it's up and in. 1 ball and no strikes. So St. J has got a 3-run lead and an opportunity to blow the thing wide open right here. They've plated 2 runs in the inning. 1-0 pitch. Swing and a foul off the end of the bat, back to the screen, and the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. And the Cougars are going to need all of their last inning heroics here tonight if they're going to pull this thing out now, down by 3 runs.
And the Academy's got Josh up, and Josh is a hitter. He stays right in there and takes his cuts. He's a tough man for a junior.
1 ball, 1 strike pitch. Swung on, a little blooper out to the second baseman, Marshall. He's got it, and that retires the side. Big out for the Cougars, but damage done by St. J. They get 2 runs on 5 hits. No errors, 3 left. We go to the 7th. It's now St. Johnsbury 4 and Mount Mansfield 1. It's loaded. At least gives Mount Mansfield a glimmer here. And they are a team that's shown they can come from behind all year long, so we'll see what they are able to do here. They come up with a bottom third.
That is, get a run or 2 across. And, you know, a tip of the hat to them. They came out swinging and put those runs up on the board.
Whitehead, the left-hander, pitches and misses. Outside and low, 1 ball and no strikes. Cougar fans trying to get something going. 1-0 pitch. In for the strike. Inside half. 1 ball and 1 strike now on Doug Brasso. Whitehead back. Low and outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Kevrin, the sophomore, due to hit next. Although we see somebody else with a bat out in the on-deck circle, so that may change.
Number 8's on deck. I tell you, George, in baseball, the toughest 3 outs to get are the last 3 outs because nobody wants to lose.
Now 3 balls and a strike. The pitch is in for the strike call on the inside half. And the count full on Brasso, 3-2. Big pitch here, Whitehead with the 3-2. Brasso bounces it to the left side. The shortstop, Bennett, has it, fires, and he got him. 1 away. Strong throw by Matt Bennett to gun down Doug Brasso at first base. 1 away in the Cougars' 7th inning. And we will have the pinch hitter now. Zach LeGros is going to hit for Corey Hebron.
I tell you, that was a nice play by Matt Bennett. He had to come in. That was a tough play, a slow roller. He took it on the short hop and just gunned it over there.
Zach LeGros at the plate. 167 hitter on the season, 3 hits in 18 at-bats. He's got 1 home run, 2 runs batted in, and a .409 on-base percentage.
Well, Bob's going with the percentages, lifting the left-handed hitter for a right-handed hitter. Trying to keep that curveball being a non-factor.
Pitch from Whitehead on the inside corner as LeGros is backing away. No balls and 1 strike. A 1. Low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Cougar kids out in front of the dugout down below, all the rally caps on. 1-1. Swing and a miss. A ball and 2 strikes now on LeGros. Matt LeGros waiting on deck. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Here it is. And the check swing rolls up the line. It's a foul ball. Now, LeGros made a mistake right there, Steve. He did not run that ball out, and the catcher, Ingalls, let it roll as long as he could. If he picks that ball kicks fair, it's an out.
It's an out. And Tracy did a nice job by looking back and noticing that LeGros wasn't running and allowed that ball to roll to a stop.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's Whitehead with the pitch. And the ball popped foul back, and that's out of play.
Just a quick commentary on LeGros right now up at bat. Now, here's a pinch hitter coming out of the dugout, and he's in a critical situation, 2 strikes, and he's swinging away. And a lot of kids would just close their eyes and hope for ball 4, and this kid is out there just earning his keep.
1-2 the count. Whitehead with the pitch, and LeGros fouls another one back out of play, hanging tough, 1-2. We mentioned Matt LeGros on deck, and then they would get around to the top of the batting order. Savage, Ladouceur, Carter. It's a long way away, but they got to get some people on base here with 1 out, nobody on. They're down by 3. It's 4-1 St. Johnsbury, and this is it, top half of the 7th inning.
Well, at very least, obviously, one of these two LeGros brothers has to get on, at very least. And if you're a Cougar fan, you're probably hoping that 2 out of 3 of the last 3 guys get on, and then let these other guys come up and do something. But right now, Justin wants no part of it. He's just throwing the strikes, and he doesn't want to see the #1 batter.
Here it is, and he goes outside with a breaking ball. 2 balls and 2 strikes now on Matt LeGros.
You know, a lot is said about mechanics, this, that, and everything else, but I sincerely believe if you're going to be a good pitcher, you just have to have that dump dog philosophy.
I said, Matt, this is Zach LeGros, and he takes strike 3 called. Fastball right down Broadway. 2 down. Strikeout number 4 for Justin Whitehead, and he is 1 out away from giving St. Johnsbury its first ever state championship in baseball. It all rides with Matt LeGros, who has grounded to short and doubled in the ball game, 1 for 2. The Cougars right up against it now. Whitehead pitches, and it's in. Belt high, inside corner for a strike. Nothing in 1.
Justin is just rearing back and throwing strikes. That's the only thing going through his mind right now is throw those strikes.
0-1 pitch. Matt LeGros takes the breaking ball for a strike called. It is 0-2. We could be down to a 1-pitch situation. 0-2 coming, and it's driven in the air, foul off to the right side. It'll be out of play. And the count holding. No balls and 2 strikes on Matt LeGros.
You know, you could be ahead by 10 runs, and as the coach ahead by 10 runs, you're still in turmoil. 1 pitch or not 1 pitch.
0-2 pitch coming. And he got a piece, lined it into the St. Johnsbury dugout, actually skipped up into the crowd. LeGros hanging in as his brother did before finally being called out on strikes. 0-2 on Matt LeGros. And you are right, Steve. I don't know if he's thrown 1 ball. No, he threw 2 balls to Zach LeGros, but basically everything in the strikeout, or the strike zone from Whitehead in this inning. Yep. 0-2. St. Johnsbury left-hander ready. And the pitch. Sailed it high, the fastball. 1-2 now on Matt LeGros. Whitehead back. 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball. Miss. Bent it around the outside corner, and the count even. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Everybody on that St. Johnsbury in front of the dugout now. They almost fell over in a heap. 2-2 pitch. Strike 3 swinging. The ball game is over. And the St. Johnsbury Academy Hilltoppers are Division I state champions in the state of Vermont for 1993. The Cougars of Mount Mansfield in the 7th inning go in order. 3 up, 3 down. The final score, St. Johnsbury 4 and Mount Mansfield 1. We'll take a break, come back and wrap it up from Centennial Field right after this.
Before we move on, we just ask Leon Roy if you come out tonight and present the championship trophy. We'd appreciate it. We can ask first the captain for St. John. Team member, please. Now presenting the Vermont Baseball Coaches Association Division I Championship Trophy, the Leon Royce Trophy, named after the longtime coach who is here first to present tonight. We can have the captain for St. Johnsbury come forward and accept the championship trophy. Will come forward and accept the game ball. All right. University of Vermont, congratulations to St. Johnsbury. Thank you for coming tonight and have a safe trip home.
Hold up!
This video has been produced and distributed by Max Sports Films and Videos of Williston in association with the Vermont Headmasters under rights granted to Max Sports Films and Videos by the Vermont Headmasters, and we accept sole responsibility for the content of this film. All rights are reserved, and we thank you very much for your cooperation.